I ease up on my personality because of Shinola and because of the crew and stuff. And I always make it a point to go over and talk to, the background actors and make them feel welcome and relaxed because, um, they're scared, they're timid, they're on a set and there's all these people the principal actors are doing their stuff and they don't know if I'm doing it right or doing this. So I like to joke around with them and kid with them and just make them feel like, hey, you're part of our family. You may be here for this one day, but you walking in and talking to that other officer and handing him that file, that is such a part of the building process. So thank goodness we have all these talented background actors that come in and add to the whole, the realm of what found is.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Did y'all see that? What?
Let's just throw Scream 6 in there for like
It was good.
movie. It was really good. The best of the franchise, in my opinion, since the first one.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Oh my goodness. Welcome back to another episode of ITCAFpodcast. It is episode 293, and y'all know your host with the most, myself, J. Logan Austin, aka J-Lo Fantastic, and Dustin and Bergman, aka The Mouth.
What's up?
You guys know if you're looking for entertainment news, this is the place to be. That is for sure. And before diving into the rest of the show, be sure to leave a rating on the podcast. Comment below and tell us what you actually think about the show. Because if you didn't know, leaving a rating on this podcast actually helps up-and-comers who are trying to break into the industry navigate how their trajectory is going. And then, of course, we're here for the pop culture news people as well. So like I said, we are an informative pop culture podcast, and we are here for you every single week.
Yes.
Man, oh man, a lot of stuff happening this past week. I mean, the box office has been very freaking interesting. We were completely shocked that Sinners overtook Minecraft last weekend, so we're going to be talking all about that. A whole bunch of Star Wars news, some Superman news that releases just around the corner, and so much freaking more, man. It's going to be a great freaking show, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I'm a cinephile. You're a cinephile. We are pumped. We haven't seen this type of a box office in quite some time. So, yeah, absolutely. And as you guys know, we are in the process of diving deep with found actors and actresses, and we're keeping that going this week with Mr. Bill Kelly, who joins us later on in the show to talk all about how he got on the show, his acting gig, and what his purpose in life is. Really good interview. So yeah, man, we got a jam-packed show.
That's for sure, man. That's for sure. And of course, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, for everything you need to know about Crazy Ant Media, including merchandise, personal bios, our films that we're working on, and then, of course, the different podcasts that we have going on. Be sure to visit www.crazyantmedia.com to check all of that out.
Yes.
But of course, let's start off with the box office. We normally start off with Disney, but the box office has been very interesting this past year. Before 2025 even came into the new year, everybody was like, survive till 25, survive till 25. The theaters will make money again. Well, let's talk about it. Studios, exhibitors, and anyone who loves seeing movies in the theater are really happy going into this particular weekend. Now, Disney's 20th anniversary of the re-release of Star Wars Revenge of the Sith is headed for an $18 to $20 million. Warner Brothers' Sinners is likely to get about $35 to $40 million, while Minecraft is starring for the fourth weekend haul of $18 million. Predicting. And then Amazon MGM Studios even has Accountant 2, and they're on their way to track a 3-day total that looks to be about $23 million. The top 5 titles alone look to clear around $100.5 to $110.5 million. That would be the best final weekend of April post-COVID.
Yes.
Now, best testing since 2023's $100.2 million, when, of course, Super Mario Brothers was in its fourth frame, earning about $40.8 million. Like, it's been a little lukewarm. We've been talking about it. It's been a little lukewarm. But then I think, honestly, the surprise and the momentum that Minecraft brought to the box office,
Yeah.
I think it's helping everybody out. I'm not going to lie. And then, of course, it's brother from a different mother, I guess you could say, distributed by Warner Brothers. Sinners still doing amazing at the box office as well. And we're hoping for a great second weekend. But yeah, we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, I feel like.
Which is hilarious because if you saw recently, Ted Sarandos was out there telling everybody that theaters are dead. And the reason being is because people want to watch movies at home. That's just the reality. And he said this myth that theaters will recover is just that, a myth and a lie. Well, Ted, I got news for you. People do want to still see movies at movie theaters. Listen, I'll kick back and Netflix and chill with the best of them, but I like to see some stuff in the theaters. And so this is great news going into the end of the week. Now, I know what you're thinking, $110 million. Sometimes one movie makes that in a weekend, and this is 5 movies. But guys, end of April is typically not a great time for movies at the theaters anyway. So to make that much money is a strong sign that leading into the summer session, we could see a big summer movie season, which we haven't seen in quite some time. So I'm super excited about it, bro. This is good news all the way around. And the fact that Star Wars Revenge of the Sith is part of that, they're saying if it makes as much as they're thinking it will be the largest weekend total for a re-release in history. So apparently the Force is still strong. There are people still interested in Star Wars if they get it right. So good news all the way around, man. Good news all the way around. All right, now, as you said, let's jump on over to Disney. We have some Star Wars news in Disney, but we also have some other news. 20th Century Studios has released the trailer for Predator Badlands, the 6th installment in the beloved action sci-fi franchise. Now, this one directed by Dan Trachtenberg. The film will star Elle Fanning as twin sisters. Trachtenberg previously directed Prey, which I fucking loved. That was the last installment in the Predator film. That one, of course, was released exclusively on Hulu and went on to score 4 nominations at the 2024 Emmys. Now, Trachtenberg once again serves as director and reunites as co-writer with Prey screenwriter Patrick Asen. Brett O'Connor will serve as a producer while Richard Cohen co-produces. Predator Badlands expected to hit theaters near the end of this year, November 7th. I like this. I loved Prey. It was different. It was unique. It was a prequel kind of to what we were used to seeing. So I think Trachtenberg has a strong grasp on this franchise, and I like where he's taking it. So I'm pumped for this one, man.
Yeah, completely agree. And we've talked about this on different episodes too. I love how, the amount of popularity that the Hulu film got to where everybody was talking about it to where we're like, okay, no, let's take this seriously. Let's take this franchise seriously again and start releasing it in theaters. And I think it will do well, most definitely.
Think so,
well, you were
too.
talking about Revenge of the Sith a little bit earlier, and Hayden Christensen has been everywhere promoting its re-release for the 20th anniversary, which, I mean, who can blame him? He's been welcomed back into the galaxy far, far away after, his films were not very popular when they first came out by critics and Star Wars fans, but now is beloved, okay? He made those films for my generation, that's for sure. But other exciting news surrounding the actor, he will reprise his role as the moody teen Padawan turned Sith Lord Anakin Skywalker for season 2 of Ahsoka on Disney+. The news was confirmed by the actor himself. Christensen debuted as Anakin Skywalker in 2022, I'm so used to saying 2020s now. 2002's Star Wars Attack of the Clone. And of course, its follow-up, the 20th anniversary re-release this weekend, Star Wars Revenge of the Sith in 2005. Oh my goodness. He later appeared both as Skywalker and Darth Vader in the Disney Plus series Obi-Wan Kenobi, of course. He was also featured in 2 episodes of Ahsoka in season 1. Now, we do know Anakin's character plays a big, pivotal role in the Ahsoka storyline, so I'm hoping to see more of that. I'm hoping to see more fight sequences of them, and I'm hoping to see more bonding experiences from them, because we got a lot of that in the Clone Wars animated TV show, and I'm hoping to see more of that live action.
Yeah, because it was so brief in season 1, but it just worked so well. So yeah, I really am. I'm right there with you. I hope it's an expanded role in season 2. Well, Andor might not have any Jedi Knights, or Darth Lords, Sith Lords, but the Force is still apparently strong with the new season of the Star Wars prequel series, because the acclaimed Tony Gilroy drama's second season, which continues, of course, the story of Rebel Alliance fighter Cassian Andor, has the best critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, get this, of any live-action Star Wars TV show or movie. Yeah, or movie. That's just crazy to me. Apparently, Andor Season 2 premiered this week with a 98% positive rating. Now, the new season edged out the previous top-rated title, which was also Andor Season 1 with 96%. Season 2 currently sits at 96%, checking it right before we started recording this show. So it's hanging there. I loved the movie, right, that Andor is based on. Wasn't a fan of Andor.
One.
Exactly. But not a fan of Andor Season 1. So the popularity of this one is kind of befuddling to me. But okay. I mean, whatever.
I was just about to say, I have to go back and rewatch it because I'm kind of in the same boat as you, where, like, we all know Star Wars being awesome lightsabers, pew, 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 but, there is a lot of storyline being told in all of the original Star Wars films where it is a slow burn. Well, I felt like this series was more of a slow burn than the regular Star Wars films and things that we have gotten before it. So that was my first initial response, but I mean, everybody does love this thing. So yeah, apparently. We both got to make a pact. We got to go back and rewatch Andor Season 1 to see if our minds have changed. Because I mean, maybe we're wrong, but maybe we're right. That's the thing.
Maybe, and I can say I'm more of a fan of Diego Luna now, so maybe I'll give it more of a, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm with you. I think maybe it was just because it was so slow, but yeah, we'll see.
It's very interesting, man. It is very interesting. But we are hopping over to the bunny, Warner Brothers Discovery, and great news for James Gunn's upcoming Superman film.
And for me.
A judge has thrown out a lawsuit challenging Warner Brothers' copyright to Superman in 10 countries, finding that the federal courts have no jurisdiction over the dispute. As we've told you on previous episodes of ITCAFpodcast, Mark Perry, the nephew of the late Superman co-star or co-creator Joe Shuster, sued the studio and its DC comic book subsidiary in January, arguing that Shuster's estate had the right to cancel Superman copyrights in the United Kingdom, Canada, Ireland, and some other territories around the world. Now, in a ruling on Thursday, the United States District Judge Jesse Furman held that the court has no authority to address the estate's rights under foreign laws. Now, undeterred, Perry filed a nearly identical lawsuit on Friday morning
to state
in court in New York. Now, the state suit seeks an injunction that could, in theory, interfere with the July 11th release of Superman. Now, Perry's lawyer, Mark Trobroff, previously sought a federal injunction that would block the film's release in the UK, Canada, Australia, and Ireland unless the Shuster estate were compensated. Now, in throwing out the federal lawsuit, Furman also denied the injunction as a moot. So, man, oh man, we just want to see this film.
Yeah.
But there's always so much drama around the Superman character, I feel like, for other different reasons.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a pointless lawsuit to refile. If you guys don't know how the legal system works, if you file in state and you win, and then it's appealed to the federal court, which has already said they don't have any jurisdiction. This is pointless. Yeah. Because if this guy ends up winning this suit, Warner Brothers will simply appeal it, take it to the court where they've already won, and it'll be like, this is stupid. I get it. I get it. I have been on the other side of Warner Brothers telling you, good luck, you'll never beat us in court. And this continues to be a trend. But just let it go, man. Let it go. And I'm sorry that you're not getting money from all this, but it's time to just let it go. And of course, I'm happy about this because those are big markets. and that would have hurt me dearly in our draft if I couldn't get those worldwide totals. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Thank you, court system. I appreciate it. I'm also pretty pumped about this one. Paul Ben Victor, of course, the daddy on Nobody Wants This, is set for a key recurring role opposite Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre in HBO's upcoming drama series, Lanterns. Based, of course, on the DC Comics property, Green Lantern. Now, the series, if you didn't know, follows new recruit Jon Stewart and Lantern legend Hal Jordan, two intergalactic cops drawn into a dark Earth-based mystery as they investigate a murder in the American heartland. Now, apparently, Ben Victor will play Antan, which is awesome, an extraterrestrial devoted to exposing the truth and exacting vengeance against foes that wronged his people. Now, consumed by a deep and unrelenting hatred for the law, he's determined to deliver justice on his own terms. I love that. I love these characters that they're introducing. Apparently, it may have gotten spoiled that Green Arrow was going to be in it. Somebody posted a picture of himself in the mask in the hood, and it was immediately taken down. Like, oops. I think James Gunn probably said, bro. Go back and listen to past shows to see who we announced as cast members, and I bet you can find that picture somewhere. We're not going to say it. I'm not going to continue to get in trouble, but just saying. Anyway, I'm super pumped about this show. I wasn't at first, but the more I keep hearing about it, the more casting that keeps happening, I'm kind of getting excited about it.
Yeah, most definitely. It looks like it's going to be interesting. It truly reminds me of True Detective.
Yeah,
like a galactic True Detective coming from space trying to solve a murder. So yeah, I'm super excited about it. Hopefully it'll go over well. Something else I'm super excited for that I think is absolutely hilarious, because if you watch Apple TV Plus's The Studio, the comedy drama version of the Hollywood studio system, they kind of hinted at something like this, and now it's officially happening. Bill Burr has been drinking the oh yeah Kool-Aid. Hader and Bill Hader, not Bill Burr. Bill Hader has been drinking the Kool-Aid. Hader and Daniel Zimmerman are currently developing a HBO series centered on Jim Jones and the infamous events of the People's Temple Architectural Project, aka Jonestown.
Yes.
Now, sources with knowledge of the project say that Hader is being eyed for a potential starring role in the show as well. Now, Hader is co-writing with Zellman, with both serving as co-showrunners and executive producer. Hader would also direct should the project move forward. I think this would be absolutely hilarious because, like I said, the whole concept, I think of the first episode, I think it was, of The Studio. It's exactly something like this, where it's either real life Kool-Aid or Jonestown Kool-Aid. Like, it's so funny.
Oh, yeah. And look, for any of the youngins out there that have no idea what that even means, this guy built together a cult and then convinced everybody to drink poison and killed them all. And the way he convinced them to drink the poison was he told them it was Kool-Aid. That's where the term drinking the Kool-Aid comes from. So yeah. It basically means if you fall for shit, if you're kind of like dumb and stupid and always fall for stuff that people try to pull over on you, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. So if anybody ever tells you you're drinking the Kool-Aid, be aware that they're probably calling you stupid.
Yeah, it's not a good it's not a compliment.
It's not a compliment. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm pumped, though. Look, all seriousness, it was a pretty drastic, giant murder scene in real life history. Yeah. That's kind of creepy and scary. So I think this will be interesting to see how they move forward with that. Speaking of how they'll move forward, let's jump on over to the Eye, where apparently the Golden Globes has unveiled its 2026 ceremony date. And guess what? It's moving back a week. Yep. The 83rd Annual Golden Globes is set to be held on Sunday, January 11th. The organization announced this week. Now, the ceremony is frequently held in the first weekend of January, but will shift to the second weekend of January in 2026. The 83rd Golden Globes will once again be telecast live on CBS and streamed on Paramount Plus in the U.S. Also back, as previously announced, host Nikki Glaser, who earned high marks for her performance of this past year's Golden Globes. Now, nominations for the 83rd Golden Globes will take place on Monday, December 8th, with additional information on the show's awards timeline to be announced over the next few weeks. And of course, we will keep you up to date on all that. It's nice to see them make a little resurgence. It was a fun ceremony, this last one. It seemed to go over well, and Nikki seemed to have a good grasp on how to host it. So I'm excited for this one, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, most definitely. Very successful, man. It was very successful. Well, Christopher Gorham from Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage, Ugly Betty, and Michelle Weaver from Love Is and Bear Patch have joined the cast of CBS's hit drama show Fire Country spinoff, Sheriff Country.
Yes.
Now, it's, of course, led by Morena Baccarin. CBS has ordered Sheriff Country to series for the 2025-2026 broadcast season. Now, the series is produced by CBS Studios, as is the Mothership series. Now, Sheriff Country follows straight-shooting Sheriff Mickey Cox and the stepsister of CAL FIRE's Division Chief Sharon Leone, who's, of course, played by Diane Farr from Fire Country, who investigates criminal activity as she patrols the streets of the small town Edgewater while contending with her ex-con father and mysterious incident involving her wayward daughter. That sounds very interesting. I mean, it kind of reminds me of a storyline from Dexter. I'm not even going to lie. Dexter is still so fresh on my mind. It reminds me of some stuff like that. But I'm excited for this because they kind of, you know, how they do backdoor pilots, and they kind of introduced her character on Fire Country, I think in season 2. And I think it established, you know, a good relationship between the two shows. I think it'll be as successful, if not more successful, than like a Grey's Anatomy and Station 19.
Yeah.
You know, that type of thing. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and they just recently in this season had her back on, and they introduced the drug dealing daddy. So now we kind of get that background and the differences and about that. So that was like a really good episode, and even more so cemented the trouble between her and her daughter and in relationship with her dad, kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm excited for this one. I think it's gonna, and I'm a huge fan of Morena, so I think it's gonna be really good. This one I'm up in the air about because I'm a huge fan of Tom Ellis, but I just don't know if this is going to work. CBS, we told you about this. We hinted at it a couple of weeks ago, but apparently it has officially been greenlit. A new series in the FBI franchise focused on CIA agents. Now, Lucifer himself, Tom Ellis, is attached for one of the 2 lead roles in the drama, which is currently titled simply CIA. Okay. It is set to air during this season. The show was first reported to be in the works back in January, as I said, though at that time there were plans to have it begin as a backdoor pilot with characters to be introduced during an episode of the current season of FBI. Now, CIA is a 1-hour crime drama centered on 2 unlikely partners, a fast-talking, rule-breaking, loose cannon CIA case officer, played by Tom Ellis, which makes sense because if you loved him at Lucifer, it only makes sense that would be his character, and a by-the-book, seasoned and smart FBI agent who believes in the rule of law. Now, when this odd couple are assigned to work out of the CIA's New York station, they must learn to work together to investigate cases and criminals posing threats on the U.S. soil, finding that their differences may actually be their strength. This sounds like Lucifer to me, where he worked with a straight-laced cop who eventually fell in love with her. But it was like Satan working with a by-the-book cop. This just kind of, somebody said, hey, let's redo Lucifer, but call it CIA and make it. I mean, I'm sorry. So I don't know how I feel about this one. Maybe Dick Wolf. I trust Dick Wolf, but I don't know. This just sounds like a cheap knockoff of Lucifer. I'm just saying, like.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I mean, I guess, you know, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
I guess.
But you know, he's not the devil this time. So it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. Well, we're peacocking over to NBC Universal.
Whoa, excuse me.
Ethan Coen's dark comedy, Honey Don't, has landed an August 22nd wide U.S. theatrical release from Focus Features. Now, the film, which stars Margaret Qualley, Audrey Plaza, and Chris Evans, is about Honey O'Donoghue, the small-town private investigator who delves into a series of strange deaths tied to a mysterious church. Charlie Day and Billy Eichner also star in the project with a script by Cohen and Trisha Cook. So that sounds very interesting. Great cast. So I have high hopes for it.
You had me at Aubrey Plaza. I'll watch anything she's in, literally. And I love Margaret Qualley and Chris Evans, too. And Charlie Day. Fuck, that is a good cast. All right, mark that on the list to watch in August. Don't let me forget. Also, what a way to finish out the year for SNL, the big 50th year, right? They're going out with a big bang. Saturday Night Live has set Scarlett Johansson and Walton Goggins to host upcoming episodes, with Bad Bunny and Arcade Fire as the musical guests. Now, Goggins will actually make his SNL hosting debut during the May 10th episode, which comes on the heels, of course, of his turn in season 3 of HBO's The White Lotus, as well as the 4th and final season of Max's The Righteous Gemstones, which he has starred in since 2019. Now, he will be joined on the May 10th episode by Arcade Fire, appearing on SNL for the 6th time, the day after the release of their band's 7th studio album, Pink Elephant. Now, ScarJo will host SNL on May 17th, marking her 7th time headlining the show. She will next be seen, of course, in Jurassic World Rebirth, premiering July 3rd via Universal Pictures. Bad Bunny is going to be her musical guest for his 3rd time during that episode. So, yeah, I mean, I love ScarJo on the show. I love that she's having that big relationship. She's kind of making that big jump into more comedic stuff, which is great because she's funny as hell. And I love that. I hope that does not go away. Colin, don't fuck that up. I hear she's pregnant again. So
nice.
But yeah, I hope that marriage lasts a really long time because they seem to just be doing it right.
Yeah, they're adorable, and I mean, I love Colin Jost. So I would hope so, man. I would hope so. Well, Snoop Dogg has ginned up with a juicy new pack with NBC Universal Entertainment and Studios, which has launched its deemed a new creative partnership with the hip-hop star and his Death Row Pictures production shingle.
Oh.
Now, in this expansive deal with NBC Universal, it's across film, television, and sports entertainment, and also streaming platforms. Under the new pact, he'll return to The Voice as coach in season 28 this fall. Snoop was previously a coach on the show's 26th season last fall, which he actually did very well. I was a little skeptical because, it's kind of difficult when a rapper comes in and what's he know about country music? What's he know about alternative rock? But he did very well. He is a chameleon, I feel like, when it comes to music. So I know he just did a country song with a lesser known artist, which is very interesting. So kudos to him. I'm hoping to see more projects coming out of his production shingle. Hopefully it's like a 50 Cent thing where he just starts banking shows. I think he could do it.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, he definitely on that season of The Voice showed his musical chops. This man is an actual musician, not just a gangster rapper. He actually knows his shit. And it makes sense that they're including the sports stuff in there too, because he was wildly popular on their Olympic coverage this past time around. They had him actually there reporting on the Olympics and people loved it. So, it only makes sense. I think, and he's a huge football fan and a huge sports fan too, if you guys don't know. So this only makes sense to me. I think this is going to be a really successful relationship. This next one, you can thank Suits, because this is why it's happening. The success of Suits and the return of Suits with Suits LA. Let's take more popular USA shows and bring them back. Well, the hit USA Network series Royal Pains is getting just that, with star Mark Fernstein set to reprise his leading role of Dr. Henry Hank Lawson, and he's set to executive produce. Now, we hear no other original cast members are currently attached to return. Part of the original creative team will reunite on the new drama project, including Andrew Lazinski and Michael Raunch as writers and executive producers. Now, Royal Pains, if you don't know, was a hugely successful show in that era on USA Network with Suits, a Burn Notice. You had Royal Pains. There was a bunch of them that were on that network at that certain time that ran from 2009 to 2016. And it followed his character, Hank, a former New York ER doctor, as he embarked on a new adventure with his own concierge practice in the Hamptons, where he mostly catered to wealthy patients. Now, the NBC project is set several years later and apparently finds Hank searching for a new purpose in life and about to embark on a new project. So what it is, where it is, how it goes down, we don't know. But yeah, I think this is clearly trying to capitalize on the success of what they've been able to do with Suits, and they're going to take a stab at it. I even heard that Donovan Tate from Burn Notice and they're like, why not us? Hey guys, Bruce Campbell posted and he's like, we're next, right? Like, so who knows, man? We'll see. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but you got to try, right?
The entertainment industry loves going back to the well that was once successful, so we'll
do.
see. I mean, it's definitely not out of the question. That's for sure, man. That's for sure.
Speaking
now
of,
we're heading over to Sony, which they released the first trailer for I Know What You Did Last Summer. Of course, a long-awaited sequel to the 1997 slasher film of the same name. Franchise mainstay Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr. will return to their roles as Julie James and Ray Bronson from the first two films. Now, the film is the fourth installment in the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise and will serve as a direct sequel to the 1998 original, in which a group of friends are haunted by a hook-handed killer 1 year after they killed a man in a hit-and-run accident. Hewitt and Prince Jr. star alongside franchise newcomers Madeline Klein, Chase Sue Wonders, Lola Tung, Nicholas Alexander Chavez, Austin Nichols, Sarah Pigeon, Tyreek Withers, Jonah Hugh King, Billy Campbell, and Gabriette. I Know What You Did Last Summer hit theaters or will hit theaters on July 18th. This was a popular franchise that it seems like in the entertainment industry, there's a lot of things that come out at the same time that are similar to each other because it's very Scream, you know, like it's a well-oiled machine that's kind of like in the Horror franchise where you can compare those two together. We were just talking about Royal Pains and Suits and Burn Notice. So it's always very interesting to see how the entertainment industry swishes back and forth between what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny because it was really popular, and the second one, while not as popular as the first one, you know, did okay. The third one apparently not very good. So it's interesting to me because they said this will serve as a direct sequel to the original. So are they doing like what Superman did back in the day and we're just going to pretend like the second and third one didn't happen and this will be the direct sequel? And for anybody asking, because you have Jennifer Love Hewitt, you have Freddie Prinze, they did reach out to Sarah Michelle Gellar, but apparently she's like, it just doesn't make sense to me. How would she retcon her character after the death that she suffered? It just didn't make sense to her, and she didn't feel like it creatively worked, and she said no. So, you know, but wish the hubby best, I guess. You know, he's like, it makes sense for me. I'm going back. But so there you go. If anybody was wondering why her and they, you know, she's not in it. That's why. Big news on the Lionsgate front. Man, did we get some casting news coming out of this one. The Hunger Games Sunrise on the Reaping has found its leads, apparently. Joseph Zada will star as District 12 tribute Hamish Abernathy, while Whitney Peak will play his girlfriend Lenore Dove Baird. McKenna Grace and Jesse Plemons have also been cast in the film. Now, Plemons will play a young version of Plutarch Havensby. Plutarch was, of course, portrayed by the late, great Philip Seymour Hoffman in the original films Catching Fire and Mockingjay Parts 1 and 2. Maisie O'Donnell will portray one of the tributes from District 12 alongside lead character Hamish Abernathy. Now, we don't know who McKenna Grace is yet. Maybe, we don't know, but we'll find out. The Lionsgate film, of course, based on the best-selling novel of the same name by Hunger Games author Susan Collins, takes place... Okay, now this is important, so anybody who's not familiar, pay attention. This takes place 40 years after the events of the last movie, The Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes, and 24 years before the original movies with Katniss Everdeen. You got that? 40 years after the one we just saw, 24 years before the ones we saw years ago. There you go, just trying to clear it up for you. Hunger Games, timeline, chronological order type stuff. If you're still confused, I'm sorry.
They're going all Game of Thrones, okay?
Yeah,
They're
no,
releasing all
totally.
these different freaking storylines, and they're like, okay, this is right here before this battle, but also like before after this. Like, it's man, like every time you release a movie or a show, you should not have to release a timeline every single
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Like, I get these big franchises are very popular, but oh my goodness, guys, come on, come on. Anyway, A24, the holdover star, Dominic Sessa, you know him, you love him. He did an amazing job
Oh,
with
yeah.
Paul Giamatti. He officially donned the apron of the Kitchendary legend Anthony Bourdain, alongside Oscar nominee Antonio Banderas in the new biopic from A24. Now, Banderas' role is completely under wraps right now. We don't know who he will be playing. And Sessa was reported as in talks for the project from director Matt Johnson from Blackberry last summer, if y'all haven't seen that one. The film, titled Tony, will take place in 1976 when a young Bourdain has a life-changing experience working and living in Providencetown, Massachusetts. Cameras are set to roll next month. I really hope so, man, because he did amazing in the holdover. So I really feel like taking on a biopic role would be huge. And that's apparently the thing right now
Yeah.
for young actors. Biopics, okay? Timothy Chalamet, freaking all the guys for the Beatles, now Anthony Bourdain. If you want to be an up-and-coming star in Hollywood, do a biopic.
Oh, absolutely. And you need a strong actor for this, because if you guys aren't familiar with Anthony Bourdain, he's like the bad boy of chefs, right? He was a very strong-willed, strong personality guy in real life, of course, who tragically, left us too soon. But so this is going to be interesting. I think Dominic is an interesting choice to play him. I think this could be really, really good. Now we're going to jump on over to Amazon MGM Studios, where this story makes total sense because of the boom success of Sinners. Amazon MGM Studios has finally announced a release date for the star of Sinners, Michael B. Jordan's reimagining of the Thomas Crown Affair. It's coming March 5th of 2027, apparently. Now, the movie will also be shown in IMAX. The news comes, as I said, as Jordan is on a wild ride at the box office with the original period vampire movie Sinners getting a rare A cinema score and banking $77.5 million at the domestic box office so far going into this weekend. Now, as we first told you, Jordan will star in and produce the Thomas Crown Affair with his Outlier Society production company alongside Taylor Russell. Now, currently, what's going to go up against it on March 5th, 2027? We don't know, but we do know that Disney and Warner Brothers DC Studios, so it's a DC movie, have untitled movies on those dates. So, will that force MGM to move? Are they feeling comfortable about what they might be going up against? I don't know. What does it say, though? They're saying they feel good going against a DC movie, so I guess they're not too worried about that. We'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, the superhero thing right now, like we said, there's a little fatigue, but not crazy. But I mean, it's very interesting enough to where, like, you place a film on the same release day as a superhero movie, you're not going to get first place, but you still might make a decent amount of money because of, the little fatigue. So it's there, man. It'll be very interesting to see what happens. But MGM Plus has ordered a series adaptation of a scripted podcast titled American Hostage, with John Hamm set to play the lead role. This man is literally everywhere right now. The official logline states that the show is a psychological thriller set in the 1970s that tells a harrowing true story of Fred Heckman, who of course is played by Hamm. A beloved Indianapolis radio reporter, I'm already hooked, let's go right now, who is thrust into the middle of life or death crisis when hostage taker Tony Curtis demands to be interviewed on the popular radio news program. Hamm also starred in the podcast version of American Hostage, which originally debuted in 2022. Now, production will begin in Winnipeg, Canada this fall, with MGM Plus ordering 8 episodes. The series is also planned to be an anthology, so you'll get different types of stories like this if it is successful. I might have to subscribe to MGM Plus now. The only thing I'm mad about is, why aren't you shooting in Indianapolis? I know Indianapolis and Indiana is not known for its filming.
Yeah,
but come on, man. I mean, you have to start to change. You have to be the first one to make initiative to change incentives and to talk to lawmakers about the film commission. And I'm just saying, man.
Well,
maybe
my guess would be maybe it has something to do with Your Friends and Neighbors. Maybe there's a conflict of he's filming that also, and that's in kind of maybe it's that. Yeah. I don't know, because like you said, he is a busy guy lately, and he's got I'm assuming his schedule is pretty tight. So, well, I don't know. I'm excited for that one though. He's killing it on Your Friends and Neighbors, so I can't wait for this one too. All right, let's jump on over to Netflix and talking about killing it and the it girl of Hollywood right now, which everybody wants, Miss Jenna Ortega herself. Well, Netflix finally released the first teaser and a handful of new images for Wednesday Season 2, starring, of course, the lovely Jenna Ortega, and launching on the streamer in 2 parts on August 6th and September 3rd. Now, according to the official series logline for Season 2, the show follows Wednesday Addams' years as a student when she attempts to master her emerging psychic ability, thwarting a killing spree, and solve the mystery that embroiled her parents. Now, Ortega is also set to produce this coming season, which only makes sense because she had so much input into the first season with Tim Burton. They work really well together, so yeah, not surprised by that at all.
No, most definitely. And I mean, like you said, she's killing it right now, so only more and more success coming her way. That is for sure. Well, Netflix's other big moneymaker, Stranger Things, we all got an exclusive first look at the Tales from 85 and the Annecy International Animation Film Festival in June. The new animated series set in the Stranger Things universe will be presented by executive producer Eric Robles during the next on Netflix animation showcase on June 11th. Do you think the Duffer Brothers are scared to move on past Stranger Things?
I think so.
They're like, yes, please take our concept, our universe, and turn it into an animated show.
Yeah.
They can be less involved with the animated show, but still have that executive producer title on it. So if their next thing doesn't hit, they're still making money. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, and how do you do it? You do it like so many other people are doing. It's a prequel.
Yeah.
It's a prequel. So, we've told you the story. Now let's tell you the story before the story. Yeah, it just, like we said, diving into the deep IP property, what works, and don't go away from it. So, yeah, I think Duffer Brothers and Netflix are kind of locked in with Stranger Things. All right, this next one I know you're excited about, and you might not be able to see him, but guess what? He's the champ again. WrestleMania 41, the 2-night event that took place, of course, this past weekend on April 19th and 20th at Allegiant Stadium in Vegas. Guess what? Became the most successful and highest grossing event in the company's history. I find that just crazy because WrestleMania with Hulk Hogan and Mr. T and like all these massive WrestleMania events that they've had in the past, that this is the most successful is just mind-boggling to me. It's awesome. It wasn't just the most successful gate making the most money. It was also the most viewed WrestleMania of all time, up 114% from the record set at last year's event. That's not it. It was also talked about like crazy on social media. WrestleMania 41 generated 1.1 billion views throughout the weekend, with Sunday becoming WWE's YouTube channel's most viewed day ever. Now, this news follows Monday's announcement of WWE Unreal, a new docuseries set to premiere on Netflix this summer that will give viewers a closer look at the organization and its writers' room. That sounds awesome because, as you guys know, it's scripted. It's all planned out. So to get an inside view inside the writer's room and how that all goes down, I think will be like opening the doors, exposing what really goes on and how it's planned out. I think that'll be really cool.
Most definitely. And like no without a doubt, wrestling is the most popular it's ever been.
Yeah.
Like I mean, from last year to this year, setting another record after they blew the old record out of the water last year. It's kind of phenomenal. Of course, bringing back old people for dates like John Cena, The Rock, and a whole bunch of different people. Yeah, it's very exciting, and they're doing a lot of very interesting, new, innovative things. I just saw on X, Twitter, the other day that they have their own branded matches for Twitter specifically.
Yeah.
That's just quick 2 minute, 3 minute matches. Or I think it's probably maximum 5 minutes, but that really showcases like the skills, speed, and agility that these wrestlers can do. And I mean, if you guys don't know, like they're not making crazy amounts of money. They're driving to different dates. Like they're literally hitching the road or hitting the road and driving across the country to hit all of these dates. Like it's absolutely wild. It's very interesting to see the trajectory, how successful it's been so far. So yeah, I'm excited to continue watching it grow and build on to bigger and better things.
Well, and I think the best thing that happened, as horrible as it was, and the tragic stuff that took place, almost monster-esque, with Vince McMahon, that really turned it around because it was kind of fading. It was kind of seeing a lack in popularity until all that controversy came out with all the shit that he was doing and all the bad stuff. And then it just rebounded, and like people were like, let's get behind it, get rid of this monster and bring it back to the glory. And it certainly seems to have done that. So while you never want to hear those type of stories and that type of behavior, it certainly saved the WWE, in my opinion, because that's when you saw the big resurgence. So, there you go.
Completely agree. It's wild, man. Triple H is doing an amazing thing running the ship. That is for sure. But we're heading over to Apple now, where a sequel to the Tom Hanks and Apple World War II action pick, Greyhound, is lining up a January 2026 start date in Sydney, Australia. They shot the last one in New Orleans.
Yes, they did.
Know about that. Oscar winner Tom Hanks will reprise his role, of course, of Captain Cross in the pin the script. Okay. I see you. Director Aaron Schneider has returned, and as producers playing the roles as well. Gary Goetzman for Playtone. The next chapter in the Greyhound saga will reportedly follow Krause and the Greyhound crew from the beaches of Normandy to the ocean of the Pacific, as well as they help turn the tide of the war. Oscar winner Hanks, of course, will reprise his role and do an amazing job. We're super excited about it. The first movie was really good, especially this is one of the first films that hit Apple TV Plus. And for them to do a second one, I think is phenomenal. So I'm super excited about it. Joseph Poliquin is not coming back because his face got blown off. So, sadly not, buddy.
That's true.
Not. Maybe he had a twin. Maybe that guy had a twin. Who knows?
But there are talks apparently are in the process of some of the other key cast members coming back. So we don't know, but deals aren't done yet. But yeah. Joseph Poliquin definitely not. Unless he's coming back as some sort of zombie. I don't know. Right. Maybe. Talk about two people that are absolutely killing it right now. They are also doing awesome. I'm talking about Will Sharp and Ayo Edebiri. They're set to apparently unite in a new rom-com series called Prodigies for Apple TV+. Now, Sharp created the 7-episode comedy and will write and direct it. Edebiri will also serve as an executive producer alongside Sharp. Now, this is being described in the synopsis as an unusual take on a classic romantic comedy. Prodigies is set to explore the universal complexities of long-term relationships through the lens of a very unique couple. The story will follow Dee Dee, played by Edebiri, and Ren, played by Sharp, two ex-child prodigies who have been together since they were children and now in their 30s are starting to question whether their very ordinary existence is living up to the extraordinary promise of their childhood. They inevitably find themselves asking the same questions about their relationship. As individuals' hope and needs feed into the conflict with their shared lives, the series will challenge the fallacy at the heart of the romantic storytelling and the tale that is over when the two heroes actually get together. This this sounds interesting, right? Because there's so much pressure on childhood prodigies, and then if you don't live up to it, Shador Sanders, like, yeah, I mean, it can be an interesting, and then especially if you've been lifelong friends and trying to enter into a relationship. So, yeah, very interesting original concept, and I'm kind of digging it.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. It almost reminds me kind of like a Queen's Gambit type of thing, child prodigy, leading up to all the crazy things. So yeah, it should be pretty interesting. Apple does very well when it comes to television. So hoping for the best, man. Hoping for the best. Well, now it is time for the one and only Bill Kelly to come on the show and talk about the hit NBC drama Found. Oh my goodness. I almost feel like we're a part of the Found family now. I mean, the amount of people we've talked to, we just haven't been on set yet. Okay, give us a call. We'll come on set.
That's right. Yeah, this is another really good one. Not only does he share some behind the scenes stories and how he got the role and just the whole family aspect of the show and what they're trying to do, but it just gets real about what he's trying to do with his acting career and how his goal is to help other people succeed in doing it and chasing the dream. And he just gets, he lays it out in realistic terms, which I think if you're an up-and-comer in the business or just trying to even think about acting, this is a good one for you guys to listen to for sure.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. Well, here he is.
Bill Kelly, welcome inside the Crazy Ant Farm. How are you, man?
I feel like Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone. Running down the hallway.
Perfect. One of Logan's favorite movies, so you're going to fit right in. It's going to be
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, listen, first of all, we are super excited to talk to you and so glad that you decided to come on the show because huge Found fans, obviously, and we have been blessed to be able to talk to several of y'all off the show, and each conversation has been a gem. We have no doubt yours is going to be as well. Yeah, I can't wait to dive into that. But how we like to start this kind of thing off is we're always interested to know how you got started in it. Was it something that you always wanted to do, like, yeah, the acting bug bit, and that was it? Or did you kind of fall into it, a change of pace, something in life happened? How'd you get started?
The answer to that is yes, all of the above.
There you go.
It's kind of funny because I didn't have any acting experience, and when I was in high school, I was a senior, pretty well, unknown in high school. Wasn't a big jock, although I wanted to be. I just got injured like every tryout. And the senior play popped up, and it was the Beverly Hillbillies. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go do that. I'm just going to go do it. And I remember to this day walking down the sidewalk because the auditions were later in the school day. I think it may have been after school. And walking down the sidewalk to the gym, and I went in to audition for Mr. Drysdale, and they came back and said, "We want you to be the lead." And I'm like, well, doggies, because I did not expect that. So did the play. It was fun, had a blast, and then acting fell by the wayside. Started a career in radio in 1981, and very successful at doing that.
Yeah.
Did a lot of, on-air stuff, promotions, did a lot of meeting, flying to see new artists and stuff. So it was a great career in radio. And then a fax came in to the radio station, which should show you how long ago that was. And it said Florida State Film School, open auditions, volunteer to be an actor. And so I went and did it. I went and auditioned. They had a bunch of signs on the table that you could choose from. And there were a bunch of people there from the town. And so I went in, did the audition, and pretty much immediately started getting parts for movies, for student films. And they were usually anywhere from 6 minutes. And I think we did one that was an MFA thesis film that was 23 minutes long that played at festivals all over the world. I'm big in China.
Yeah, I bet you are.
For that movie. And that's where it came. I did about 30 student films. I had a friend of mine here in town, Fred Rabath. Thank you, Freddie. He gave me a lot of opportunities in his independent stuff. We did a lot of what I call competition commercials, which kind of spawned from the Super Bowl, the Pepsi Doritos Super Bowl ads.
Right.
Crash the Super Bowl competition. And And then I got divorced, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. I contacted Susan Gallagher, who plays homeless Lynn on Cobra Kai.
Yes.
And she and I had done a film together, student film together. We were in the film together. We just didn't have any scenes together. So I called her and said, I understand you have an agent and you're getting some auditions. So would you introduce me? So she gave me the referral. Tracy Danielle with Brevard Talent Group. I drove down, did a cold read with her, and she said, I'll let you know. And then 2 weeks went by, and I went, well, that plane flew out. And so I thought, I'm going to email her and say, thank you for the opportunity. Keep me in mind for the future stuff. And she wrote back and went, crap, I forgot to tell you, I'm taking you on. So, that's where it started. And literally right out of the starting gate, I started doing auditions for stuff, shaking in my boots, and got my first feature film, which was Pain and Gain. I had a few lines in that.
Yes.
And then did Burn Notice, and I had a nice scene with the lead actor in that, and it just kind of went from there.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
we are
Like,
true
whoa, look, we're out
believers.
of time. Thanks for
Yeah, right there.
I talked a lot right there.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, we're true believers in everything happens for a reason. And if you step off the beaten path, then whoever, faith, believe in, aura, karma, all the good things, they will put you back on the path you are supposed to be on. We truly believe that. So it definitely, there's no calendar, there's no time frame of which, especially chasing the dream with something like this, where like
Exactly.
this is where you're gonna make it, this is where you might fall, different things like that. So it's such an amazing thing because, like you said, already having such a well-established career in the radio industry, and this being the new radio, I'm sure is very interesting to you. So how do you keep that confidence moving forward? Because you did go through a lot of life. You did, try different paths along the way. So how do you keep that confidence to continue moving forward in the film and television industry?
I didn't start until I was 50.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that was one of those things that I met so many artists through the radio industry and so many people, and I had to stand up on so many stages in front of thousands of people. So that alone built my confidence up. Doing interviews with, Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood and Tim McGraw and Kenny Chesney and all these people. So the confidence was there, but getting in a room with a producer, director, casting directors, writers, and doing, cold auditions has its own pretty good merit of nerves, bundling up. But I don't know. I go in there and I do the best I can, and I love it when they give me direction because it can make changes on the fly, and I settle down a little bit, and I don't know, I just put this picture right here in my face, and I kind of wipe that all away and just create the image in my head of who I'm talking to, and it's not even like I see, the casting director or stuff. It's just I kind of blank it out of my mind, and being on set, your very first film with, Mark Wahlberg and Dwayne Johnson and Anthony Mackie and directed by Michael Bay, you're kind of in the deep end.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You're going to sink or swim.
But what a learning experience, though, right? And we talk about that all the time. It's like, it doesn't matter whether you're a background actor, whether you have a dialogue, not. If you're on set, use it. It is a learning experience. Yep. Is it a way to see how it works? It's a way to make connections, to talk to people if they're willing to talk to you. It's the best place you can be if this is what you want to do. And I want to touch on what you said because, as we know, COVID, right? So it kind of changed the game a little bit with auditioning. The cattle calls kind of went away, and the face-to-face across from the casting director, now it's Zoom. Now you're sending self-tapes. Now you're like, so to even get to the point where you can get a chemistry read and get in a room with somebody, it's all via Zoom and self-tapes first. Was that difficult for you? As someone who's been on both sides, you were in the room and doing them in person, and then I'm sure had to shift while it shifted in the industry. What was that like for you? Did you like that? Or because you mentioned that you liked getting the feedback from the casting director or the director in the room, and obviously you don't get that with the self tapes. So
Yeah, being in the room is its own, its own piece. You can get in there, and I miss getting in the room with people because
sure.
that is just that's what builds your fortitude, what builds your guts to go in there and do this every day. And I'm in a hub. I live in Tallahassee, Florida. I'm not in New York. I'm not in LA,
Right.
but I'm in a hub of anything in the Southeast that goes to auditions. So if I have an audition in Atlanta or Miami, um, New Orleans, the Carolinas, I jump in the car, drive 6 hours, do the auditions, drive back. And I did that many times. I drove to, I think Tampa, St. Pete, somewhere in there for an audition for independent feature film, and it was Matt Dillon was his film, and I drove down and did the audition with the casting director. Turned around, came back home. I no sooner got home, and they said, "Hey, you got a call back." And so I had to get in the car and turn around and go back pretty much
Damn.
a couple hours later.
Wow.
And it was, and it was worth it because I went down and did the callback audition, and they said, "Hey, today we're going to have you read with Matt Dillon." And he rolls in the room in a wheelchair, which was his character's wheelchair, and introduced himself, and we did the audition. I didn't get the part, but it was a great, great learning experience
Without
to
doubt.
where you don't get that now with COVID taking away the live auditions. And I think, it just got to the point where it's easier to do this way. They do it by Zoom. I've done a couple callbacks by Zoom, this year,
Yep.
and it's just not the same, to study all the way, run your lines through the thing and get comfortable with the character, and then walk into the room and meet. Because you never know. You walk into a room and you meet a casting director or a producer, a writer, a director, and that's where the chemistry starts. So
Exactly.
you don't have that anymore. It may be, if the director's there and you've walked in the room and three other people have walked in the room and just you clicked,
Yes.
that may help you get that part, if you've got a good chemistry with the director.
Or a future part. I can't tell you how many guests
Exactly.
that we've had on the show say that, they didn't get a certain role, but then they were told down the line when this particular casting director called them back and said, no, you wowed us. We loved you. That just wasn't the role. We put you away and said, let's get the right role for this guy and call him back. And we heard that consistently over and over from guests. And you're right. You kind of don't get to be able build that relationship or that dynamic, that chemistry via Zoom. So
yeah, I just auditioned. There's a series for, I forgot who it's on, but a series that's getting ready to start. I think it may have started shooting already, and I auditioned for two of the characters and didn't get the parts, and then they came back with a third character, and I got the part for that one. So
there you go.
it works out like that a lot of times, where even somebody will look at you and go. And when I got Burn Notice, I auditioned for Burn Notice like multiple times, and they came up and said, "We wanted you for Burn Notice, but we just didn't have the right role for you." And then
That's
you
right.
eventually got the role, 5 auditions later for 5 different episodes. So it works out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so amazing. Yeah, because you never know what's going to come your way. And it's all about staying open to the possibility of different things and different opportunities presenting themselves at certain day and ages. And it's very interesting, too, because I'm going through a program right now. I went back to college for a live entertainment and technology program. So I'm learning a lot about the behind the scenes of concerts. We went and toured a radio station and different things like that. From where you started in radio to where the entertainment industry is now, what do you say is the biggest change that has happened? Like whether it be marketing, the personalities, or what have you? What do you think is the biggest change?
Well, I think from a radio standpoint, the biggest change is basically there's not a lot of people doing it anymore because they've been taken over by major companies, and major companies are directed by boards who want to save as many pennies as possible. So they end up figuring out ways of, syndicated shows or DJs that are in multiple markets and voice tracking their shows. So that's been a major change in the radio section of it. But, you look at a local morning show compared to a Bobby Bones or an Elvis Duran morning show, and those morning shows are winning on a national level because they're bringing in, Kelsey Ballerini or Tim McGraw or
Hmm.
on the pop side, Lady Gaga, and having some of these entertainers in there, and people want to know that. So I think it's been good. It's been kind of a transition period for a lot of radio people that are used to doing it one way, but the only thing inevitable is life is change.
Change.
And and then from the entertainment, the acting standpoint, I think looking at auditions and how those are done, and I think the industry's changed a little bit. I think there were a lot of platforms that were showing up with a lot of different content, and it just got to a point where you had shows that were doing 8 episodes and in one season because it just didn't get the viewership.
Right.
Hmm.
The music industry kind of did that with back in the '90s. They signed everybody. They threw it up on the wall to see what would stick, and then they went in and cleaned house and said, "Okay, we're going to reel it in a little bit." So I think Hollywood's kind of doing that too because they're not producing as many shows as they were, a year or 2 years ago when we came out of COVID or prior to that.
Yeah.
And some of the platforms are not being able to sustain themselves. I think there's been one that's pretty much shut their studio down, but I think it's Paramount Plus, but I can't.
Yeah, that's
say
the
that for
rumor.
sure.
They keep saying, if the Skydance thing goes through, they definitely want to Paramount Plus. It's interesting though because I think you're right. When all of the streamers first started, it was slam it with content as much as we
Yeah.
can get, right? And it became quantity over quality, and they quickly realized that's not going to work. It's great for indie filmmakers or indie creators out there to get a chance to have it on a space. But if you're more concerned about putting many things out as opposed to putting a few good things out, you're going to get in trouble real quick, right? And
Yeah.
so I like that they've kind of corrected course and go, okay, maybe we only greenlight 5 shows this year and they're all really good, as opposed
Right.
to 20 that don't hit so well.
Yeah.
Which it's and I think this is where we're at now, right? This is how we're still kind of figuring it out. How long should a theatrical run be? How quickly before we put it on a streamer? Do we make it just for the streamer? It's getting
Yeah.
that window seems to be getting shorter and shorter. I mean, there's movies that are still playing and on streaming at the same time, which
Right.
is so just confounding to me. But I'm interested because looking at your resume for the acting gigs and stuff, you certainly have played numerous roles and different types of roles, but recent some lawmen. We had where the crawfish things and like the sheriff, and now Found, obviously playing Captain Mallory and stuff. Do you have a particular genre or type of character that you prefer to play over another, or are you just wide open, like I want to take chances, I want to take risks, get whatever I can?
I really want to take I get cast in a lot of authority roles, and I talked to Glenn Morshower when we were shooting Bloodline,
Yeah.
and he's like, I said, yeah, I'm kind of typed into playing the authority roles. And he's like, dude, I made a whole career out of playing military and cops and stuff like that. So it's never a downside when
No.
you're doing
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I want to, I just got an audition today for a comedy film
There you go.
that I would love to nail a comedy because I am as far away personality wise from any of the cop roles or DEA, the serious stuff that
Yeah.
I play all the time. I just have that look that gets away with it. But yeah, I'd love to do a comedy, love to do a comedy, and love to just be, I just worked on a film that I can't really say it's on IMDb, but I can't really say
Right.
what it is. But I got to play kind of a normal guy, and that's
Hmm.
that's fun for me. And I want to be able to do that, those parts as well, where I'm getting, I'm a farmer who's out trying to grow a crop,
Yeah.
and deal with twisters and, all that stuff. But I'll take all the authority figure roles I can get, especially if it gets me in the room with, more A-listers. I mean, that's always great.
Oh, without that. And can we just say real quick though, your personality shines through. We see the shirt. It's a fun shirt. It's a fun background that you got going on. But I'm looking at all the pictures behind you going, oh yeah, this guy's a total geek. He's like all in. He's just like us. And you can see our backgrounds have the same thing. We got, Grogu back there and the superheroes, dude, and you're rocking our shirt. So we,
and this is light.
Yeah, no, love it.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Hardaddy shirts, HARDADDY.
Yeah.
They're a printed shirt. They with all these wild graphics on it, and I'm pretty much known for those wild colors. I've got a pair of canary yellow, neon yellow shoes by Noble that I wear at the gym sometimes, and yeah, I am all about flash and getting out and having a good time, and just life. I mean, I've been extremely, extremely blessed with the stuff I've been able to do. So
there you go.
I never take it for granted.
Love it.
So epic, man. So epic. Well, let's talk about Found a little bit because we are loving this freaking show. I mean, from the first season to the second season, I definitely feel like it's just blown up. And Dustin, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Bill here is our 5th member of the cast, 4th or 5th member that we've had on from the show. So that's absolutely amazing.
No, we just keep lining them up, and you guys are all stellar. And
thank you.
And because I want to dive in because you guys have all come with. Every person that we've spoken to has said the same things about the community that is built on that set and how the interaction is and what it feels like. And so the message that show is sending, right? Giving voices to people who don't have voices, giving a platform to be seen and heard, and the storylines and the things. But then that chemistry is there. I think this show is working so well because it seems to be that the people involved are genuinely those people. And that is the mission, right? So talk about that a little bit. Talk about your casting process there. And what has your experience been on the set and with the fellow cast? Anissa loves you. We recently interviewed Anissa and she couldn't stop praising you.
We talk about every day. I love that.
That's what she said. And I said, I'm going to ask him. You better be saying the truth. But talk about your experience there, the casting, how'd you get the gig and what it's been like for you.
I did the audition, and I think it was. I remember doing the audition. I'm pretty sure the character was Joe Mallory at the time.
Okay.
When I got the audition, I did the audition, and I got the part. Didn't have any idea how many episodes because it'll say recurring guest star or something.
Right.
And I like when I did Bloodline, it was recurring guest star, and I think it was only scheduled for 2 episodes, and that turned into 9. And then this one, you don't know until you get the call that, okay, you're going to be in this one as well. So, yeah, it was a great, 10 episodes so far. And I'm just thrilled to death to be a part of this team. It is absolutely the most fun set and cast and crew that I could ever ask for. Shinola is just the sweetest, most... You walk in there, she walks in the room, and it's just like, whoa, the room just lights up because she's got this enormous smile, enormous personality. She's singing at the top of her lungs. She's dancing around, and she loves everybody there. She walks in there, and she knows matches. What'd you do? How was that thing over the weekend? You get that done? And Bill, hey, how's that going? And she knows everybody's name and what they're doing, and she cares about everybody on that cast and crew more than anything. We have the most fantastic crew. They're absolutely professional as can be, but we have a lot of joking around, and it's just extremely fun. And then they say action, and we hate each other.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're going to talk about the little dynamic between Trent and Mallory and Gabby, and I'm so glad though that you said that because we had the great opportunity to meet Shinola and hang out with her and. Same thing. She makes you feel like you're the most important person in the world when she is speaking to you and genuinely cares about you and what's going on with you. And it was one of the greatest moments to be able to have that opportunity to meet her and get to know her. It's a pure gem. We agree with everything you said. She's absolutely wonderful. I love that you okay, because you brought it up, so I want to talk. Mallory sometimes feels like maybe he's got a stick up the ass. Um,
You think?
yeah, just I feel like this guy is deep down he's a good guy, but other times he just wants to cause chaos. He wants to cause a bit of drama. It's like I believe in what you're doing, but I hate how you do it, and I want to
Yeah.
be,
You know,
get into it, right?
he's the guy that, he looks at that precinct as almost like the Dirty Dancing, where Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Grey are dancing, and Patrick's trying to get her space. This is your dance space. This is my dance space.
Yes.
Well, that precinct is Mallory's dance space,
Yes.
and you don't come in there and act like you own the place, or I'm going to put you into your place. But yeah, and there's more to come of Mallory that, um, it's just that there was a scene that Brett and I did, Trent and Mallory,
Yep.
and it was where Trent was trying to, say, hey, sign the arrest warrant. And it was almost like Mallory's backing up, going, now, wait a minute. If she did this, we'll find out. But right now, let's hold off because she's been through this. And people are like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Mallory's got a heart.
Exactly, because Mallory was always the one going at Gabby, like
Yeah.
So when he said that, it was like, wait, what? He's gonna let her fly? What? But yeah, and I mean, and I'm sure Logan agrees with it, but it's clearly they've been dropping little things about Mallory's background, so more is coming, right? They're doing a really good job of giving you little pieces of his backstory that you just know something is like, okay, they're brewing this pretty good. He clearly had a dynamic with Trent's dad, right? So
Yeah.
so there's that, and there's got to be more to play there, I think. But yeah, I just think that the way you play off of everybody and what you bring to the character has just been brilliant so far. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's fun. I make it. You go into a new series like that, and you don't know anybody, and you kind of walk around and on eggshells a little bit, going, okay, who's gonna kind of get my humor and not. And I love to talk to pretty much anybody. I love to watch the process. I mean, it's just amazing. Every time I get on set, I walk through that building and I see the sets, and I just thank God I get to come and do this. And I want to take everybody on a tour and go, okay, we're walking and walking, and here's the set of the DCPD Police Department here. And if you look to your left, we're walking in here, because it's just a playground of fascination for me from, watching the angles and the camera and the lighting and how they set everything up, and Mallory's office, and I got a wall that moves behind me, and I'm like, who knew? It's just
yeah, that movie magic, right? Like
it's movie magic, yeah, and it's so fun. And then I ease up on my personality because of Shinola and because of the crew and stuff, and I always make it a point to go over and talk to the background actors and make them feel welcome and relaxed, because they're scared, they're timid, they're on a set, and there's all these people the principal actors are doing their stuff, and they don't know if I'm doing it right or doing this. So I like to joke around with them and kid with them, and just make them feel like, hey, you're part of our family. You may be here for this one day, but you walking in and talking to that other officer and handing him that file, that is such a part of the building process. So thank goodness we have all these talented background actors that come in and add to the whole, the realm of what Found is.
Ooh, I love that too, because I mean, not a lot of people on such a prestigious set talk about, the background actors and how much anxiety that goes into their day or
Yeah.
two of work that they go through, being on such a well-oiled machine that this one is being established as. So that's absolutely amazing. And with being such a attention to detail person, do you ever see yourself stepping behind the camera, maybe directing an episode or maybe helping out with some camera movements or anything like that?
It's I love working with Bill on his camera work is amazing, and he'll say, can you take a step back, take a step forward, do the hokey pokey, whatever he does. I love helping him get what he wants out of that shot, and so I love doing it. And I love to I'd love to see what goes on,
Mhm.
but I got so much fun going on in the front of the camera.
There you go.
It's not yet, not time. When I'm 97,
Yeah,
I'll probably
yeah.
want to do that.
Yeah,
There you
and
go.
it's never too late, yeah, as
It is never
you've
too late.
said. So you never know. You never know.
You only fail when you quit.
That's right. That's right. Oh man, wow. I love you, bro. You're like you fit right in with us. It's like we're
Yeah.
talking to ourselves a little bit right there. Well, okay. So how we like to wrap these things up? We've been doing this new thing this season on the show, and we call it our popcorn questions. So we hit you with 4 or 5 questions just to have a little bit of fun. Are you ready? Because they get a little fun. Logan, you got the first one?
Of course. What do you think the most funniest moment or most memorable moment was on the Found set?
Funniest moment or memorable moment? Wow. There's just there's so many. I think the most memorable moment was the dialogue that Trent and Mallory had, Brett and I had in that scene was memorable to me. It was also a very fun moment for me, but there's so many little fun moments when we screw up. I
Yeah.
love it when they put out the blooper reel.
Oh yeah.
We don't take ourselves so seriously. It's just like, dadgummit,
Right.
I'm sorry, I can't do that. And we all have one word that will not ever come out of your mouth in combination with the other words in front of it. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
It is. I did a scene where I was on the episode of 6 with, it's all military, and I got to say something. It would not come out. It just would not come out. And, I was like, can I change that to this little word? And it's like, yeah, do it. And ends up what they used. But yeah, there's so many fun things. So kind of hard to narrow that one down.
Yeah, how's your singing voice? We hear you guys like to bust into song every now and then too, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Shanola does it. People tell me I'm loud, but I sing all the time. I mean, I am.
Love it.
So don't blink.
There
Just
you go.
like that, the 6. Yeah.
Oh, maybe a country singing career
yeah,
too,
I mean,
right? He
yeah,
was
I
country
love it.
DJ. I could do the little country twang there too.
Yeah, I've got a lot of country songs that I'm, fond of.
I bet. All right. Question number 2: if you could live inside a movie or a TV show, which one would it be and why?
Man, you got some good questions here. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Ooh, nice.
And I think, this show's in its 5th season so far. We just discovered it because there's so much content out there. But this is an amazing show. But, watching that team of actors, and they got some pretty good sets. They got some great apartments, and I could live there.
Can't go wrong with that. I mean, I'd like to jump in anything Amy Sherman-Palladino is doing. Like, sign me up.
Yeah. Or Landman.
Or Landman. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I could see you on Landman. I could totally see you on Landman.
I love that show. I love the dynamic of that show. I met Mark Colley years ago when he came through town, did a show, and reached out to him on Instagram. And so we've talked a little bit about just having fun, and it's an awesome show. I'd love to do that show.
Completely agree. I love the writing, because I'm catching up now. I think I'm on the last episode, and every time something crazy is going on, I text Dustin and I'm like, oh my gosh, this little line of dialogue is so freaking great.
Yeah.
Looking at people that I've known from country music, Dwight Yoakam, Mark Colley, on Yellowstone.
Yep.
Oh my God, she's only the biggest artist in the world right now.
Yep.
Lainey Wilson.
Oh yes, yes.
Watching these people, Tim McGraw was really an inspiration for me to go into, try to get an agent. Watching him come up, and it's just amazing. It's kind of like, we can do this. So they take off and are amazing at it.
Yeah, Tim and Faith's work on 1883 just blew me away. Tim is like a really legit actor, and I was like, okay, well, how's Faith gonna? And then she just woo, good stuff. Good stuff.
I gotta plug my phone in because I just got a big old bar that said, "Hey, you're gonna cut them off."
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, I met both of those people when they were just coming up in the ranks of country, and Tim McGraw actually gave me an autographed baseball
Nice.
of Tug McGraw. So I've still got that. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, that's epic. I was just listening to Live Like You're Dying. That's
Yeah.
Anyway, before I cry right now, if there could be anyone you would want to work with, who would it be and why?
Uh, I would love to work with pretty much anybody in comedy, but man, that's hard. I got to say Billy Bob Thornton. Just
Yes.
from what he does, Billy Bob Thornton is a great dramatic actor
Yeah.
with so much sarcasm and lick to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just you never know if he's serious because he'll say something and it's like my feelings are hurt, but that's funny as heck.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
And that little smile, that little like grin that he gives you too, you're just like shit. Like,
Yeah, and it's almost like he's looking at you going, I wouldn't drink that drink I just
right.
bought.
Oh yeah. And I don't know if a lot of people my age know, but like he's got a lot of comedy in the resume back in the
Yeah,
day.
he does.
Was on a lot of sitcoms
Absolutely.
and a lot of stuff. So he's this guy that you think of, but yeah, he can tell a joke. He's pretty funny. So
Extremely versatile, very versatile.
Without doubt. All right, this next one meant to be a little Barbara Walters moment. If you could go back in time and speak to your 10-year-old self, what would you say?
This one is so easy.
Oh, okay, good.
Listen to your father and save your money. Yeah, it's my dad told me when I was a little kid, I want you to save some money. I don't care if it's $1, $10, $100, save money. That's the lesson that I want to instill in my kids. Save your money for retirement, for when you get old.
Yes.
And I've got 2 boys that are in as first responders. One's a detective, the other one's a paramedic. And they're both in great careers and doing well. And they've got their plan. The third one's running a restaurant. He loves what he does. He's very knowledgeable and he's doing a great job in that. Just a different career, but they're all 3 just killing it, and I'm very proud of them.
Love that.
Oh, that's amazing, and I know they love to hear that too. It's always awesome to hear that from a father's words, so that's awesome. And then the last one: are you happy with your career so far?
Yeah. One of the things I tell my wife is, if it ends tomorrow, it's been a great ride.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and
yeah, it's I started at 50 and I don't have time to slow down because I've got you'd never know when it's your time to go.
That's right.
So I'm always looking at it as I've got 20 years left.
There you go.
To make it happen. My dreams are to be in more movies, to be a series regular, and more than anything, make a lot of money so I can give a lot of money back. You see a lot of people that do great things with their money, but I really want to help people that don't have an air conditioner in the middle of a Florida summer.
Yeah.
That don't have a porch that they can sit on or put a wheelchair up, or the roof's caved in and nobody can help them. I'll never be able to deduct that stuff as a big tax shelter, but I can walk in the end of the day and go, Ms. Johnson's going to sleep dry tonight.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sir, that's why everything you just listed will happen. Just speaking to you throughout, the passion that you have for what you do, the way you treat people, going out of your way to make people feel comfortable, speaking like you just did about what's important to you if you were to come into the money aspect of the career. All of those things scream you will be successful, because you are the type of person that success will come to, because you're a good human being. You can tell that by the way you speak about how you raise your children. You can tell that about the way you approach your career, how you light up when you spoke about your wife.
Love my wife.
And oh, no doubt, I could see you lit up as soon as you said her. But you, sir, are inspiring. You're the people that inspire us to keep going and doing what we're doing and doing it. And I think this interview is for all the up and comers out there. You're the way to do it right. And I think this has been just a fantastic interview, and we couldn't be more happy that you came on and talked to us.
Thank you so much. And I get students that call up and, they send me emails and want to know how I did it. And people that I meet in restaurants, how'd you do it? And I'm like, I can show you what I did and kind of guide you along. But I love to watch people succeed.
Yeah.
It's actors are very competitive. And I went to an open audition once down in South Florida, and there was a guy in the room, a guy in the line, I guess, to do the room, to go and do the audition. And he is just, y'all might as well leave. Y'all might as well leave. I got this. Y'all get out of here. And just being a jerk about the whole thing. And I ended up getting the part. But, why be like that when we're all struggling? So
Right.
if I don't get the part, and I look at, somebody in my agent's field, my agent's roster, and it's somebody that is on our team, it's like, hey, knock it out of the park, man. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Or I'll reach out to people who are, actors that are younger actors or not, not the stars of the show, and just send them a message of, man, you killed it. That was a great scene. And that may have been their only scene. So yeah, always help who you can on the way up, because you never know who you're going to need on the way down.
On the way back down, because no matter how high you get, you will come back down. And we were just talking about that before we started recording this show. That's so funny that you brought that up, because and listen, if you can't help other people with what you've learned, we've been given so many opportunities, been blessed by people giving us breaks and helping us out. If we can't return that, then what are we doing? Right? Like, that's the whole point. That's how we all succeed, is by sharing what you know and giving breaks and opportunities to people. And like you said, be happy for them if they succeed. That's the way to do it.
Be happy for anyone that succeeds at anything. It's just, we need more of that.
Yes.
Completely agree. Well, Mr. Kelly, thank you so much for coming on the show today and talking with us. It's been an amazing experience. Open invite. Anytime you ever want to come back on, please feel free to do so.
Yeah,
and of
absolutely.
course,
I'd love to.
This is the time where, it's all about social media. So where can people follow you?
Well, on Instagram, Bill Kelly Actor. On Facebook, Bill Kelly, just Bill Kelly. Twitter, Bill Kelly Actor. IMDb. How do you get your IMDb number up? That's the world's biggest mystery.
It's so strange.
It is.
You can't. I got nothing. I've tried everything. Sending out, hit me on IMDb. Just search me. I don't know, but nothing moves. Nothing moves. So yeah.
I love it. All right, man. Well, listen, take care. And like I said, we will definitely be reaching back out to you. And this has been an absolute joy. And just continued success, my friend, with everything that you're doing.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness. You really, throughout this entire process of starting this podcast, talking to so many freaking people, you really never know what you're going to come across. And Mr. Kelly here is an absolute goofball that's stuck inside of a cop's body.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
But fun. You can tell he's got a lot of humor, and he's living his life, and he's living his best life. But my favorite part, I think, about that whole interview is just what a genuinely good human being the man is.
Yeah.
You hear him talk about everything he wants to do and what he's done and the passions that he has. And it's hard to argue wanting somebody like that to succeed. That is the guy that you want to see have everything happen for. And just could not be more happy that he came on the show. And good interview.
Really was. Thank you again, Bill Kelly, for coming on the show. All right, now it is time for the top 5 segment, man. Oh my goodness. We wrap our brains around the concept of the top 5 every single week, and we always try to figure it out Well, with the success of the box office so far this past weekend, we want to talk about the best films that we've seen in 2025 so far. Some of them not the box office. I might have cheated a little bit with 2025, but I watched it in 2025 but it's okay. It's just
I was going to say, one of them on there is like a 2024, but we'll go with it.
Listen, it's one cheat. I'm still thinking about it because there's current day events that
and
are
it
happening
saw
right now.
a big surge because of the passing of the Pope, so I'll give it to you.
It did. I thought it was definitely worth the mention. But yes, a lot of good things, man. A lot of good things. So my number 5 goes to Conclave, my cheat of the top 5 list. I mean, it came out in 2024, the end of the year, but I still watched it in 2025, preparing for the Oscars because so many things from that film got nominated at the Academy Awards. And with Pope Francis dying, and there about to be another conclave, there's like 14 days of rest, prayer, all of spiritual awakenings, praying for, figuring out who's going to be the next pope before the actual conclave where all the cardinals come together and pick a new pope. It's very political, if you guys did not know
Very
about
political,
I've been following this whole thing on TikTok right now. That is all my feed is filled up with. So that's all I've always been thinking about this film these last couple days, and some of the guys who they think are like front runners to become the Pope, I swear to you, look exactly like the cast member of Conclave.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
It really, well, and here's the thing. I think that it saw the big surge because everybody's interested in how the conclave works, right?
Yeah.
Guys, that's a little bit fictional. Like, it's not that political, but it is very, and I can say this, that the majority of the time over the past, at least in our lifetimes, the front runner has never been the one who gets it.
Never.
Ever. Like, Pope Francis wasn't even in the conversation. Like, and then there he was. So, it's going to be interesting to see. And by the way, that waiting period is new. Francis actually extended the wait period after they die to when they start the conclave. He extended that period. So, that's all kind of new. It used to be almost immediate after the death. They would go into the rooms and start doing it. So, that's very interesting. Yeah. It's interesting. It's a good film. It's a great film. But just keep in mind that Hollywood does fictionalize some things. So don't think that that's how it's legitimately going down. Close, but not all. That's all I'm saying. I just want to get that clear. All right, my number 5. And I was caught off guard on this one. I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm pulling this up because I want to make sure I get the name correct. Okay. My number 5 is Den of Thieves 2, Pantera. Now, I'll be honest with you. Den of Thieves was one of those ones that kind of like was under the radar. It kind of came and went, and like not a lot of people heard about it. But when I saw Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, I'm like, maybe I should watch Den of Thieves. So I went back and I watched Den of Thieves. It's a good movie. It's nothing groundbreaking by any means, but it was a decent movie. Den of Thieves 2, infinitely better. They took everything that worked, in my opinion, from the first one, put it into the second, and then expanded on it and just really kind of killed it. It was a great film. Now, this one is directed and written by Christian Gudegast, who, if you don't know, is Eric Braeden, our former guest on here, Eric Braeden, the beloved Victor Newman on The Young and the Restless. That's his son. And he's actually been a longtime director and producer and writer in Hollywood. You just don't recognize the name. But he actually did this one, and it stars O'Shea Jackson, who actually carries over from the first one into the second one. And they take it overseas, and it becomes more of a diamond heist film. But yeah, the way they do it, the concept behind it, how if you don't know, Gerard Butler is like the cop from the first one who takes down this organization, and O'Shea does go to prison, but then ends up escaping. I don't want to give too much away, but so now the premise is Gerard Butler's character is a bad guy. He's fed up with the system. He's tired of it. He wants to get rich too, and he joins this gang and to help him with the diamond heist. And it's a very interesting concept of how it all plays out. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked this one out, I highly recommend it. Watch Den of Thieves first, And then go catch Den of Thieves 2 Pantera, and I think it'll be worth it for you if you like a good action flick that's got a little bit of drama and some story in it. Yeah, I think it's a good one. Den of Thieves 2 Pantera. My surpriser. I didn't expect to like it, but I did.
Very nice, man. Very nice. It definitely feels like Gerard Butler is falling into the Jason Statham, Liam Neeson
Yeah,
kind of
for
gig
sure.
where he's very typecast. So it'll be very interesting. But let's say he's very orchestrated in the type of roles that he picks. He knows what'll work, man. He knows what'll work.
Well, but
Um,
it's sad too, though. And just because, and let's quickly do this. But like, what was that comedy that he did with Katherine Heigl? He was hilarious as shit in that
yeah,
movie,
yeah, yeah. I know which one
and,
you're
and so
talking
he's
about.
a pretty good comedic actor. But you're right, he's getting stereotyped into these bad guy, vicious action hero type stuff, and it's like, give the man a comedy. Shit, let him follow up. Come on.
Exactly, exactly. My number four goes to One of Them Days.
Mm,
This is the one with Kiki Palmer and
yep.
SZA. I believe it's available on Netflix right now. And it was kind of one that did decently well at the box office. No one really knew what it was going to do as far as numbers. And it is an indie film, and it is true black cinema. I loved it from start to finish. It reminded me of a Friday or like the original Scary Movie from
Yeah.
Marlon Wayans. And I just feel like what this film brought to the table is something we haven't honestly seen since the early 2000s. I mean, of course, there's different interpretations of different things, but I think this is going to go down as a cult classic, and I think more people need to watch it because it's a different perspective when it's coming from a woman's voice, a woman's point of view, and I love everything about it. So definitely do yourself a favor and watch One of Them Days. It's honestly hilarious from start to finish.
There you go. I agree with you. One of one of those sleepers that nobody thought would do anything, but then did. My number four is the opposite of that. My number four, I'm going to go on record and say I think it'll be another Den of Thieves where it's going to do far better after it's seen elsewhere. I'm talking about Novocaine with Jack Quaid. This thing was phenomenal. This was a really interesting original story about a guy who could feel no pain and basically takes on the mantle of trying to help people because he can't feel pain. The kicker is he can die, though. He can't feel pain, but he can still die. So he does all this heroic stuff. And let's just say it's pretty comedic in the sense that he thinks he's a hero that is not aware of or not thinking about that just because he can't feel the pain, he can actually get himself hurt. This was a victim of lack of advertising, lack of marketing, opening against bigger movies, and not getting on a lot of screens. And that's a shame because it is actually a really great, entertaining film. Quaid kills in it. The whole cast does. And it's actually really well written. It's a really fun script that you don't think, and it's got some twists and turns in it. But yeah, it's sad. So find this thing. Watch it because you'll be glad that you did. If you missed it in the theaters, don't feel bad. A lot of people did. But check this one out because Jack Quaid deserves for you to watch this one. That's all I'm going to say. He's a phenomenal young actor who's really making his way, and sometimes he gets in these things that nobody sees, and that's unfortunate because this is one that you should watch. My number four, Novocaine.
Completely agree. I know it's still on the watch list. I really want to see this one and The Amateur
Yeah.
with Rami Malek.
Yep.
It's very Mr. Robot-esque, it looks like. So
Yeah.
I'm interested to see that. Number three for me goes to the box office freaking splash explosion from last weekend, Sinners. Now you're probably like, what? Well, this is so low on the list. I promise you,
That's what I said.
that's other good ones on there. Okay, give it two more picks. But Sinners, I love this film. At first, there was some things that taken me back, like for how long the story goes at the very beginning until we get to the vampires, because it's billed as this vampire sci-fi type of flick. But what it's really doing is telling a story and telling a message and starting conversations with different people. And I think that's what's amazing about it. Ryan Coogler does not miss, man. And
He
I
does not.
absolutely love the success of this thing because it shows that original stories still have a place at the cinema. That is for sure. What he was able to do with a $90 million budget and make half of it back the first weekend. And I think word of mouth is going to have this thing going and having legs throughout the entire rest of the spring, to be honest with you. I mean, TikTok has been blowing up with this bad boy. There's a few sequences in this film that I was just like, it again, taken back, but then the more I think about it, I'm like, I see what he was trying to portray there. I see what he was doing. But I love the film. It definitely sets it up to be a quote unquote franchise. There's a lot of speculation about that, but I don't know if that would actually happen. But yeah, number 3 for me, Sinners.
There you go. I'll expand on that more because it's on my list as well. My number 3, I don't know how people are going to react to this or not react to this, but my number 3 is a film that I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought it was a good origin flick, if you will, to set up what's coming down the line, including not just for this particular character, but for other characters and groups. I'm talking about Captain America Brave New World, which I thought was a really well done film to set up Anthony Mackie's Captain America. It sets up the Young Avengers. It sets up Thunderbolts. It sets up inevitably the multiverse fiasco in Secret Wars that's coming. It sets up all that, and it does it in a way that was really entertaining, and I liked it. I think this thing could have done a bit better, although it's not a failure, guys. I mean, $200+ million domestically and more than $500 million worldwide. That is a massive success. It is Marvel standards, it's middle of the ground, but still, I think this movie was a victim of that cancel culture where no matter what, we are already bashing Marvel movies and saying that they're failures before they even come out. And it keeps people from going to see them at the box office. I wish we would stop doing that. I wish people would stop. It's a classic example of when something reaches a level of just excellence, we are classic at tearing them down after we build them up. And that's what's happened to the Marvel Universe, I think. Because if you look, this film, the new Daredevil series, it looks like apparently Thunderbolts. It is back to what we expect from this universe and these actors and these characters, and yet people are still out there trying to tear it down. And the reason I'm saying that is watch Captain America Brave New World. It is a really good film. It is along the lines of Captain America Winter Soldier in the sense that it's more of a political thriller than it is an action movie, although it is filled with action. But it's story driven, and it sets up where the Avengers are going, where the Young Avengers are going, how Captain America and Falcon and these group of people will play into what happens coming up. It's done really well. And I think Mackie had a lot of pressure on him and a lot of, just angst and turmoil on top of his shoulders to try to deliver. And I think he did. And I think it was unwarranted, some of the criticism that this film got. So my number 3, Captain America Brave New World. Watch it. I bet you'll like it. That's all I'm saying. I bet you'll like it.
Yeah, I compare it to Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
I think it's right around the same, where it's entertaining, it's fun. Yes, there's things wrong with it, but no film is perfect.
No.
But it's definitely better than the Eternals, but it's not as good as it's definitely better than Thor Love and Thunder too. So I mean, it, like you said, very middle of the road, but definitely not one of the favorites.
But it's an origin film. Like if you look back and you look, with the exception of the first Iron Man, because that one's the exception to the rule. But the first Captain America movie, the first Hulk movie, all the origin ones are just kind of subpar, middle of the road. They're good, but they're not like great, right? And this was his origin movie. So I feel like it's just on par with what it was.
Yeah, to be honest, I completely agree. I don't think it holds as much rewatch value for me as like an Iron Man 1. But like you said, very middle of the road, and it definitely wasn't the worst thing. It wasn't a Snow White. Yeah. So let's put that out there. Number 2 for me goes to an Apple TV Plus original, The Gorge, with Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Johnson. I really enjoyed this freaking thing. To be honest, or Anya Taylor-Joy, sorry.
There you go.
I really enjoyed this film. I think, it's like sci-fi / zombie / possible event aftermath of events of war, and Hiroshima and the bombing and like all that stuff. So it was very interesting. I think why I hold it at such a high spot on my list is because I love the dynamic between those two actors. I think their chemistry was the best thing of the entire movie. Yes, there was action. Yes, there was a good story. It was entertaining. It was paced well, but I think the relationship and the chemistry that those two had, I think that's why I put it so high for me. I just thought it was so fun. So yeah, number 2 for me, The Gorge.
There you go. And that plays perfectly into my number 2 because it's the chemistry between the two characters that you would think, wait, what? But trust me, my number 2 is The Accountant 2. I have a little theme here. It's like with my Den of Thieves and Novocaine and stuff. But The Accountant was another one that kind of came and went. And not a lot of people heard about it, but then started catching it once it hit streamers. And they're like, wait a minute, there's a Ben Affleck film called what? And it's about, but if you really liked The Accountant, you're going to love The Accountant 2. It just takes it to a whole new level. As you guys know, I make no secret about it. I'm a huge Jon Bernthal fan. And while he is in the first one, it's brief. It's towards the very end. You just find out about the dynamic between him and his brother, and there's not a whole lot. This one expands on it wholeheartedly. Think about your favorite buddy films. Any of them. Lethal Weapon, 48 Hours, just any of your great buddy, bro films. That's what this one is now. Bernthal's throughout the whole thing. It isn't just little cameo things. It's about two brothers together taking on what, I'm not going to give too much away because there is a little kind of a twist to the plot thing, but it's a story about two brothers who are finding themselves again. That's how I look at it. That's what really drew me to it. And the dynamic between Bernthal and Affleck is, there's this line dancing scene in there where it's worth it alone. And I don't know if you guys have been watching the press on this thing, but Bernthal just seems so relaxed and funny and more joy. He's always usually so intense in interviews, and he's like that Bernthal that we all expect. But he's laughing and giggling, having a good time. He's poking fun at Matt Damon. And that's coming heavily from the dynamic of this film and how they are together in the film. I love it. I absolutely love it. I hope we get another one. That's all I'm going to say. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. This does have rewatch value. I would see this one again. And like I said, it's worth it. Forget all the action. Forget the storyline that's going on because it is a very cool storyline and it does weave in the first one. Kind of sets up another one and there's some twists or turns. But for me, it was the dynamic between the two of them as brothers. And we finally got to see that on full display where we didn't get to see that in the first one. So yeah, The Accountant 2. Worth the ride, my friends. Go see that one.
Yeah, most definitely. I saw the trailer for it when I went to go see Sinners, and it looked freaking phenomenal.
Oh, yeah,
I haven't seen the first one, so I would definitely want to go back and watch the first one and then watch this one. Like, yeah, it looks really freaking good. That's for sure. Number 1 for me goes to Warfare. Oh my goodness, guys. This one is absolutely phenomenal. The closest to a 5 out of 5 that I've given to a movie on Letterboxd so far this year. I just love it. It's an A24 film. Alex Garland comes back after, of course, Civil War that he did with A24. He comes back, co-directs, co-writes this thing with a military guy who actually experienced the events that this film is about, which is absolutely wild. It's a beautiful story about just guys surviving and trying to make it out of this mission. I love it too because there's no main character. You don't get any backstory. Well, at least not a lot of backstory, I should say, on a lot of these characters. It just is like, boom, this is the situation. This is the mission. This is why we need to get out. And it's an amazing freaking thing. Like the first 45 minutes sets it up so well. And then when the fighting happens, like you're anxious the entire rest of the time. Like what this cinematographer was able to do with the story and this 2-story apartment and with all of these characters. It's a beautiful thing too, because this film was made for a man who was injured on this mission, who couldn't remember how he was injured. And of course, the co-director, being a part of that mission, wanted to make this for his friend so he could show him the events of that day. And it's just such an amazing film, and anybody who is up and coming in Hollywood is basically in this thing. The lead star from the Reservoir Dogs, or I think that's what it's called, that FX show that was about Native American teenagers. And then you have Will Poulter, who's freaking absolutely amazing, killing it. Adam Warlock freaking in The Bear, We Are the Millers. And then you have Joseph Quinn, you have Gandolfini, I mean, it's an amazing freaking cast throughout this entire thing. There's even this part, this doesn't give anything away. Gandolfini is going to go give morphine to the guy who got injured, one of the guys that got injured, and he freaking had it upside down, and he morphined himself into the freaking finger.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of a humorous moment in such a anxious, intense situation. It's a great freaking film. It's only an hour and 35 minutes. It's definitely worth the watch. Please go watch Warfare. It's so freaking good.
Yeah, you've sold me on this one. This one is on my watch list. This is one of the ones that I haven't seen yet, and it's definitely one that I'm going to catch because it sounds amazing, and the way you sell it, it's just fantastic. My number one goes back to what you were talking about on your list, Sinners. For me, this is a filmmaker's film. If you are a filmmaker, wanting to be a filmmaker, wanting to be a director, a storyteller, this is a film you need to watch because, as Logan said, Ryan Coogler is a brilliant storyteller. And if you're going to be a great director, you have to be able to tell a story. And Ryan Coogler has yet to not hit with telling a story. You go back and watch his first film, Fruitvale Station, which also has Michael B. Jordan, and you go now, you can see the growth that he has made as a filmmaker without ever wavering of who he is as a filmmaker. It's like he's very methodical, and these are the stories I want to tell. This is the visual you're going to see when I put a movie together, and yet you can see growth. That's why I really loved Sinners so much. I'm a huge fan of blues music and that type of music and that type of time frame. I love the period piece aspect of it. Love horror movies, obviously. But it's the way he weaves these things together. The infamous crossroads where you sell your soul to the devil, and he brings in the vampires and who the vampires represent. Because as Logan said, there's a message here about where we still are in this country with racism and how people of color are treated, and how he weaves in what the vampires represent in this is very interesting. There's this beautiful scene with cinematography and the way it's done where he merges the current, time frame of that era into current era. And he mixes the music and guides the evolution of black music through that scene seamlessly. It's so good. And then, of course, it's one hell of an entertaining vampire flick. Once they get to the vampire stuff, you're like, holy shit, this is awesome. And by far, and I know Miss Steinfeld has won an Oscar already, right? But this is probably my favorite role I've ever seen her in. I loved her as Kate Bishop. I loved her in True Grit when she won the Oscar. I think she's a brilliant actress, but she nails it in this film. She is just phenomenal. Delroy Lindo steals the film, though. Trust me, when you watch this, you'll see what I'm talking about. Every line that comes out of his mouth is freaking classic. There's so many catch lines that man has. You'll say them forever after you leave the movie. But like I said, I just, between what you've said and kind of like where I've just come from, if you're a filmmaker or a wannabe filmmaker or just love a great story, this film is for you. Trust me, Ryan Coogler delivers. Michael B. Jordan delivers. Steinfeld delivers. Everybody in this cast, just phenomenal. And this is one definitely worth seeing. And go see it in a theater. Don't wait. And see it with a packed crowd. Because the audience's reaction throughout this film was so worth it for me. It's just so good. It's not family friendly. Just say there's a couple of sex scenes in there that you definitely do not want to bring the kids to see. I'm not even talking about the vampires not being family friendly. I'm talking about this bow wow. Don't bring the kids. That's all I'm saying. Just don't bring the kids.
That's it. Yes, it's an amazing film. I mean, you could literally sit here and talk about it all
day.
Day. But yes, we want to know, what is your favorite film so far in 2025? Be sure to comment down below in the comment section. Add us on Twitter, Instagram, all the places. Please, please, please let us know what your favorite film of 2025 is. And please don't say Minecraft. Please don't say Minecraft. What gamers are doing to movie theaters right now is just absurd, okay? Gamers, stop trashing movie theaters. We are cinephiles. We love our holy place. You're trashing it, okay?
Yes,
Just stop.
that's right.
Please stop, gamers. Anyway, we're going over to the box office recap. And of course, last week, like we've told you, the freaking phenomenal Sinners came in at number 1 with $48 million. Number 2 was the Minecraft movie with $40 million. Number 3 was King of Kings. It is an animated religious flick about Jesus Christ, $18 million. And then number 4 was The Amateur with $7 million. And number 5 was Warfare with $4.9 million. New movies coming out this week that you can go see in select theaters near you. We got The Accountant 2, Until Dawn, Cheech and Chong's last movie,
Yes.
Ground Zero, and On Swift Horses. So be sure to check those out, like I said, if they're in select theaters near you. Movies you can still go see, maybe, who knows? We don't know. Snow White, I don't know, man. A lot of theaters are taking it out already, so it might
It's
not
in
be
mine, but it's one showing. You get one shot at it.
Yeah, all of our theaters, I believe, have taken it out down here. So yeah, it's very. I'm about to freaking just chalk that up and write in my total. Number 2 is The Woman in the Yard. I've heard good things about that one.
Yep.
Number 3 is A Working Man. Number 4 is Sneaks. And then number 5, the Pride and Prejudice 20th anniversary re-release. And then, of course, Revenge of the Sith re-release 20 years anniversary as well. I went and saw Pride and Prejudice, even though I've already seen it millions of times with my wife. It was awesome. It was really cool. I love going back and seeing older movies in the theaters. Like, I loved going back and seeing Ghostbusters, and now I've seen Pride and Prejudice. I want to try to make this a theme. My theater is going to release The Wizard of Oz here soon.
Yeah.
I want to go see that on a big screen. I think that would be pretty cool. Then, of course, the IMDb Pro's Top Trending segment. The top trending movie is Sinners. The top trending show is Black Mirror. And the top trending star is Isabella Merced. So, yes, man, yes. We got to thank our guest one more time, Bill Kelly, for coming on the show. Be sure to follow him on Instagram at Bill Kelly Actor. Please be sure to do that.
Yes.
He's a great individual who is just down to earth and definitely an amazing conversation. Of course, be sure to follow the company and podcast on social media at Crazy Ant Media and at ITCAFpodcast, anywhere and everywhere on social media. And then, of course, follow our mental health podcast as well. Everything's OKP on social media. We got a new episode coming out next week. Man, oh man, about reparenting yourself. So that's going to be a fun conversation.
Yes,
that is
indeed.
for sure. And then, of course, you can follow us both personally on social media, myself at JLoganAustin and
At Crazy Ant CEO.
That's right, man. That's right. And you guys know you can subscribe to this podcast anywhere you listen to your podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Stitcher, and YouTube. If you're watching, we appreciate it. Hit that like button below. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for all the latest and greatest notifications coming out of Crazy Ant Media. And then, of course, be sure to visit our website, www.crazyantmedia.com, where we got a little merch, we got little bios, we got a little podcast, we got a little bit of everything, okay? Please be sure to visit us if you want to learn a little bit more about us. It's the fun stuff, man. It's the fun stuff. Two big things, two big things surrounding the Academy Awards that I'm super excited about. One, if the Academy is going to vote in a category, they have to watch all of the films.
Yes.
I think this only makes sense. And how was this not implemented before?
Yes.
What the hell? And then stunt category coming in 2026 or 2027?
2026 and 2027 casting directors finally. SAG has been doing that, so we're finally going to get stunt and casting recognized by the Academy. I'm going to go on the record and just say it. I think the first Oscar for a casting director will go to John Papsadera.
It really does.
I'm just saying, because Nolan himself's just got so much shit coming out that we know he cast. I think it's impossible for him not to be the first winner of it. I'm just saying.
That's so funny. And it's funny because we were talking about Sinners and seeing it on, big screen. He made that film for IMAX, and he said he was texting Christopher Nolan all
Yeah.
the time, just asking him about aspect ratio and working with IMAX, shooting for IMAX. And I just think that's an amazing thing. My TikTok has been so filled with Sinner stuff.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
been really fun. They've been enjoying the ride. So it's been an amazing experience. That's
Yeah,
for
if you
sure.
can
But
check out his interviews, like behind the scenes interviews talking about it, do it. Because his thought process on filmmaking and watch the after scenes credits, because he gives thanks to Nolan and a bunch of people that he credits as his inspiration as a filmmaker. So yeah, you should. He's a very interesting young man, and just I'm thrilled for him and all the success that he's having. Also, real quick, it's official. Lionsgate and Starz separating. Finally! We've been hearing about this forever, but they finally voted. They will be separating two separate companies. But don't worry, all of the Lionsgate's films will still end up on Starz because they still have that first look deal. So they're separating, but staying together. But anyway, that's out there.
That's so funny, man. That's so funny. Well, there was one person that Ryan Coogler forgot to thank at the end of his movie.
Yes!
Okay? She could have been a vampire.
She could have been.
She could have been in the juke joint. She could have been,
her and Gail King.
Wife. Something that would have been wild. Her and Gail King.
That would have been with Stedman in the background. Why not, right? Like, what the hell?
Exactly. We're talking about the one, the only
Oprah!